How's it going, everyone? It's Adam from Lifeguard, and today I'm back with a brand new lifeguarding video for you guys. If you guys are new to the channel, I make a bunch of lifeguarding content about how to pass the course, how to pass the pre-test, basically everything you need to know about becoming a lifeguard. So definitely consider subscribing and liking the video if you're new to the channel. Now, it's been a minute. I've actually been sick all week to the point where like I could barely talk because of the sore throat, but I'm finally here. So if you're realizing that my voice is kind of lower or kind of scratchy, like, I apologize. But let's get right into the video. It's gonna be super helpful for new lifeguards or for lifeguards looking for a job or transitioning to a new job. We're gonna be talking about job interviews. Lifeguard job interviews, I've made a video in the past that's actually done really well. So if you haven't already, definitely check that out. Lifeguard job interviews are nothing like job interviews that you come out of college, you have a business degree, and you want a 9-to-5 full-time job. It's nothing like that. You do not need some crazy education or a lot of experience in order to get a certain position. However, you do need to underline and highlight the right attributes that they're looking for and present it to them so that they'll want you as a part of their swim staff. So if we're gonna do like step by step, you walk in, obviously you introduce yourself, you sit down, and they'll ask you about questions such as where you go to school, how old are you, where you're from, ask you some family questions. So right here, it's all about being yourself, being nice, being professional, having good posture, like looking the part, looking good. So the number one goal of this portion of the interview is to come across as charismatic, make them like you, like, wow, I like this person. This person's very well-rounded. You want to show that you're well-rounded, well-spoken, obviously very athletic and good at swimming, but also very professional. So those are some of the key words that you want to keep in the back of your mind when you're talking. You don't have to be super calculated. They're not going to ask you a very tough question to start. It's very unlikely. Almost all the jobs that I've interviewed in the past, I know it's been a pretty long time since I did this, but it's all basically the same formula, the same template. So you just gotta get it down. So let's move on to the second phase. And the second phase is gonna be talking about lifeguarding. If you haven't already, make sure that you bring your lifeguard certification. It is so important. Do not forget to bring the little certificate that you get for passing the course. What that will do is that will prove right off the bat that you are a lifeguard and that you've taken the course, and so they have no questions asked that you are capable of being a lifeguard and working as a lifeguard at their pool or country club or whatever. If you hear that, that's my dog, I'm sorry. But that is key. Now moving on, they're gonna ask you about your lifeguarding experience. It's completely fine if you have no lifeguarding experience. A lot of people, they get the certification, they go to their first job, like they've never lifeguarded in the past, they just learned how to become a lifeguard. So do not freak out if you are applying and you're interviewing for your first ever lifeguarding job. It does not weigh as much as if you're applying and you're interviewing for a business job out of college and you have no internships. So like, don't worry about it. It's not as professional and weighs as much as like a full-time career path type application / interview. This is a lifeguarding gig. The majority of lifeguards are like high school kids, young kids learning to become a lifeguard and just got it. The difference between this video and my past lifeguard interview video is the state of we are right now. There's actually a lifeguard shortage, which means a lot of places are looking for lifeguards. There's a high demand for lifeguards, which means that they're gonna be looking for people like you, and at the same time, they're gonna have to spice it up a little bit in order to get your service. And what I mean by that is that they're probably gonna be paying more because there's a shortage and they need you to be working and they need you to be guarding and sitting on the chair and working hours. So it actually works into your favor. So you're gonna have more options to choose from. You're most likely gonna be paid more and they're gonna value you more. So it's a really good time to interview and find a job for the summer, or maybe even a job for the fall if you like working, like even in the off season when you're in school or whatnot. So they ask you about your experience. You can say, oh, I just became a lifeguard. I got my certification. I took a winter course or whatever. They'll be like, oh, that's fine, no worries. Or if you have experience, you can be like, oh, I worked at the YMCA. Oh, I worked at this summer camp down the street. Whatever it may be, and they'll give you the same answer. They'll be like, oh, that's nice, right? So now that we're done with that part, let's get into the potential curveballs they could throw you. There's not that many curveballs. There's not that many tricks that they have up their sleeve. They're not gonna ask you specifics about the lifeguarding course. They're not gonna like quiz you on your understanding of becoming a lifeguard because you showed them your lifeguard certification. That's proof that you went through that, you were tested, and you were given the title of becoming a lifeguard. So they're not gonna throw you any curveballs and ask you about, oh, how many compressions, how many seconds, how many yards did you have to swim? What's the perfect technique for the Haynes technique? like stuff like that. What does it stand for? What are the letters? They're not gonna try to trick you about stuff that you learned during the course because they know that you already did it. But the questions they could ask you is how to handle certain situations on a day-to-day lifeguard job, like work environment. For example, a very common question that I've gotten at multiple job interviews, I put this in my last video, so if you already watched this, you guys already know, but it's about the pool being full. Let's say there's lap swimming and the lap lanes are full. There's 2 people swimming in each direction in all of the lanes, and there's some people waiting, sitting on the side, waiting for their turn to get in some lap swims. And one of the people come up to you and be like, hey, like I've been here for half an hour, like I haven't been able to swim. What do you do as a lifeguard in order to get that person or satisfy their needs of being a member? Like, what do you do? And the #1 answer people think is like, oh, like maybe you have to like time each person and rotate and have someone like step out while you step in. But the right answer is just use your creativity, is circle swimming. Instead of having 2 people per lane, have like 3 to 4 people per lane, and they can circle swim versus going different directions. So definitely remember that response. Circle swimming in lap lanes is a very easy way to account for there being a lot of people trying to swim. So that's a common question they'll ask you. They'll also ask you questions about like maybe if there's a diving board or a water slide, about long lines, or people, how you handle a situation where someone's doing spins or flips and you don't allow that, but they keep doing that and they're kind of like not respecting you and not listening to you. How do you handle that? But the main goal is in all these responses to kind of think in the point of view of like a lifeguard textbook. How would a lifeguard textbook, how would they tell you to handle it? And it's mainly just being super professional, being very respectful, not doing anything crazy, not going out of your like the ordinary, and not losing your temper. Let's say you're arguing with someone who's like doing a bunch of flips. Like you wouldn't really argue with them, you would just repeatedly say, I'm sorry, sir, we have to ask you to leave, stuff like that. So it's just to maintain professionalism and respectfulness in all these responses. Now, the main reasons why people will hire you over other lifeguards, I know there's lifeguard shortages, like I said, so they're most likely gonna hire you, but let's say you're in a very competitive lifeguard job, a lot of people want it. Let's say a lot of people from your high school love to work at this place and you really want in so you can work with your friends. The thing that's gonna separate you from everyone else is obviously your interpersonal skills, eye contact, speaking clearly, slowly, pronouncing your words, being very friendly, being likable, being charismatic, being like in the moment, asking them questions, having a good conversation on both ends, trying not to be dry, trying to be like full of energy, but also trying to be someone that they want to be with and they want to hire you, and building trust from the get-go. If they sense trust in you and they sense that you're here to work and that you know what you're doing, they will hire you instantly. So definitely use these tips. Comment down below how everything went, or if you have any other questions about job interviews, I'll be happy to answer them and help you all out. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Definitely like and subscribe if you're new to the channel, and you'll see you all in the next one. Thanks so much for watching. Peace out.